Hello everyone, and welcome back to another session of Dark Souls 2 PvP and another weapon showcase. This time I am using the Dragonrider Twinblade, which is one of the 4 items you can get as a trade for the Dragonrider Soul. Now, this Twinblade is one that I don't see very often, and it's actually a very good weapon. Although it does require quite a bit of stat investment to use, it's very worthwhile for intelligence builds, and generally they don't focus on using this one for some strange reason. Now, getting started, the Dragonrider Twinblade requires 20 strength and 22 dexterity in order to wield. It has a D scaling in strength, a C in dexterity, and a C in intelligence. The physical base damage of the weapon is 185, and the magical base is 110. And for me, the attack rating of this weapon is 454 with a ring of blades. The counter strength of the weapon is 120, poise damage is 25 per hit, and the weight is 18 units. Now, when this weapon is infused with magic, there's not really much of a difference in attack rating for me. For me, the difference in attack rating is about 15-16 points. When you do infuse it, it has a E scaling in strength, a D in dexterity, and a B in intelligence. The physical base damage, it drops down to 142, and the magic base bumps up to 157. So really, it's pretty much even, in all honesty. I mean, if you're going to be buffing the weapon, yes, you might want to consider infusing it, just because you'll be able to do more with it that way, but in general, people use Great Magic Barrier somewhat frequently, so there's that. Might not be worthwhile in a lot of cases. Now, as I was saying, this weapon is not very common. Generally, people, when they're going for a Twinblade, will use weapons, or use the Twinblades that outclass this one. For example, Red Iron. That's really the only one we see very often nowadays, so sadly this thing is outclassed as far as damage output is concerned. That's just the way it goes, though. Now, my personal preference with this weapon, I usually don't like the infused one for reasons I mentioned previously, and I don't have a habit of buffing this weapon just because the fights seem to last longer than the buff does in most cases, just because they're very drawn out. People like to run away from Twinblades, and they try and setup parry them, but if you're good at mixing up your attacks, you'll be fine. So, in my opinion, the biggest pro of this weapon would be the moveset. It's a standard Twinblade moveset. A lot of people know how to fight it, but they only know how to fight its R1 spam. They don't expect the R2s, they don't expect the running attacks all the time, and they especially don't expect follow-up R2s. I don't know how many times I've been able to hit someone with the second R2 despite the fact that the first one missed. They always seem to roll in, and it's great for baiting people. I really find that to be the most useful attack of the weapon. Plus the tracking that the R2 attacks when two-handed have, that tracking is fantastic. It does such a fantastic job at just following your opponent as they circle around you, it's not even really much of a concern in most cases. Some other pros of the weapon, I would say, would be the damage. Despite the fact it's not the most damaging Twinblade, it still is pretty good. And the combos you can do are also very good as well, but that's tied in with the moveset. The biggest con of this weapon, however, would be the weight. 18 units is a ton of weight for a Twinblade. So that would explain, for the most part, why this weapon isn't all that common. Another big con of the weapon would be the stamina drain, but other than that, there's really nothing else that's wrong with this weapon. Overall, it's a very, very good one to use, and it's just not all that common because it's outclassed by the Red Iron. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next time.